Perfect. Hello, everyone. So, today's episode is going to be a little different from what my normal content has been, taking just a very small break from Warhammer or miniatures anything to make this little video that's going to talk about some very recent events within Magic, at least. It's going to be my thoughts on this, but first point is going to be talking about what happened. You know, Second point is going to be essentially just a little my thoughts on the perspective, or my perspective on all of this, my thoughts, my perspective, and maybe a little bit more about my hopes for the direction that we're going with this. So first things first that we're going to discuss here is what has been happening in Magic the last couple of weeks or so. It just everything's been going by so fast that it's been a little bit of a blur, but it feels like it's been the last 2 weeks, so we'll go there. So 2 weeks ago or a week ago, somewhere in that time frame, I cannot exactly remember, the Commander Rules Committee, the Commander Rules Committee announced that they were going to be banning Nadu, Jeweled Lotus, Dockside Extortionist, and Mana Crypt. So those 4 cards, they are now banned. What happened next was huge community backlash. There were people like me that just, it did not affect us one way or the other. At least at first, I thought the bans were fine. I didn't think about the ramifications of what that could possibly mean for people's collection at the time. There were people that were a lot more verbal about it and completely disagreed with the bannings altogether. And unfortunately, there were people that took it too far by sending the advisory group death threats. Now, what we learned next is the advisory group had no idea these bans were coming out. No idea that these cards were on the chopping block. No idea. And Josh Lee Kwai, the head of the Commander Advisory Group, stepped down from his spot. Stepped down from the head chair of the Commander Advisory Group. And so basically people started shifting the blame to the Rules Committee. Now, Olivia Hicks, I'm not going to try and pronounce the middle name here because I don't even think I've been pronouncing it correctly. But Olivia Hicks, it turns out, was essentially the one voice of reason in the group, because she was the one saying, now, hold on a second. Let's take a step back here and think about this. Like maybe we ban 2 of the cards here. I don't remember exactly which ones she said. I think it was let's ban Nadu and Jeweled Lotus. Ban those first. See how that goes, and then ban Mana Crypt and Dockside if it goes well. And the rules committee essentially didn't really listen to her, and the rest of them decided we're going to ban these cards anyways. And sure enough, now we're, so that's, kind of like the under the woodwork. Basically, so then, all of a sudden now they are the ones getting the death threats. And, um, you know, so after about a week of that happening, of getting death threats, of, just getting sheer hate from the community at large. Not everyone in the community did. I certainly didn't, because that would be unreasonable to send death threats to anyone for this. The community at large that took this the worst just kept sending him death threats, and sure enough, the rules committee said, okay, Wizards, we're going to hand you the reins to the format. We're done. And they disbanded. And here we are now. Wizards, on top of saying that they now have control of the format, have also said they're going to be instituting a new tier list for power levels of decks into 4 parts. It's going to be a 4-tier power level list. Tier 1 is for fun. Swords to Plowshare was one of the cards they mentioned for fun. Whereas Tier 4 is going to be competitive, and that's going to be like Vampiric Tutors in the list. Um, so there is that to contend with. And so basically, that is an abbreviated version of the news of what has happened within the last 2 weeks for the Commander format and Magic as a whole. My thoughts. I am sorry and sad that both groups received death threats, because no one should ever have to receive a death threat like that over a decision. Like, no one should ever have to suffer that. It's not right. It is not okay to ever do something like that to anyone. It's just not okay. It's not mature. It's not a it's not the adult thing to do. It is certainly not the rational thing to do. And for anyone who, you know, their collections were hurting over this, I empathize with your position. You know, I do empathize with it. I've had cards that got banned that lost their value. Like with Commander Legends, that blue merfolk that we don't even talk about anymore because it got banned from Commander Legends 1. Hull Breacher, that's it, I think. But the point is, you know, so I empathize with your position. It really sucks when cards you paid good money for to get lose their value. I get that. And I'm sorry that it took a hit. I really am. So, I'm again, I empathize with your position. That was not okay. That was beyond unreasonable. To Josh Lee Kwai, I am sad he stepped down from, being the head of the advisory group. I thought he was doing a fantastic job being the head of the advisory group. He's a great guy. He is one of the key luminaries of the format at its core. He's one of the key luminaries and is a great guy. I don't know him personally, But from the content he puts out there, from the work that he's put into the rules advisory group, to the commander advisory group, and the work that he's put into, his own, his own channel with Jimmy, the Command Zone, you know, I can tell that he has a love and a passion for this game. And I am sorry that he felt like he had to step down because of all of this nonsense that has happened between getting threatened, not being consulted, like the group not being consulted on the issue of these four cards. I just, I'm sorry you stepped down, buddy. I'm sorry you felt like that was the route, but at the same time, I understand your position of doing what you felt was necessary for yourself. I don't know if you're ever going to watch this, but if you do, all the love and respect, bro. Love what you do. To Olivia Gobert Hicks, wow, I actually hope I actually did not mess that up. But to Olivia, I have a lot of love and respect for what you've done too. Love you on game nights, and I love the work that you put into the community to try and make the format playable. Like, you're also one of those key luminaries that it would be a shame if your name went unsaid when talking about key luminaries of the last decade and a half of Magic. Like, you are in that echelon. You belong there. And again, I am sorry that you have had to go through this ridiculous bullcrap with the fans being unreasonable. You know. To the rules committee, I am so sorry that the fans completely lost it on you guys. That is always unfortunate. And I'm sorry that you guys felt like you had to step down. I thought you guys were doing a great job. I still believed, even after, you know, like doing, the bands that you made. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the approach to it. You know, I didn't agree with the approach, but I still was thinking it was still the right decision to make. Just, you know, I still believe in the decision. I just didn't believe in the approach necessarily. And, you know, again, all of you are key luminaries. You have had a profound effect on Magic. And I love you all too. And so those are my thoughts on everything that isn't Wizards of the Coast related in terms of like thoughts on like, like so let's try it. Okay. There. So now that we've gotten this part figured out, the is this better? Okay, so now that we've gotten all of the non-Wizards employees figured out, we're going to talk about Wizards. So, my thoughts on Wizards now having control of the format. Based off of recent trends of product release, product pricing outside of essentially Universes Beyond, because honestly, I at first not happy with, the price point, but then understanding that they do have to pay more for the use of those properties because they don't own those properties. Like I understand it. I'm fine with like paying $60 for a commander deck that's Universes Beyond, especially if it's a product or a property I love, like Lord of the Rings. Mwah! I love that. But outside of that, so everything else that's been released and the ever increasing price point and the ever increasing, like, oh, goodness, the ever increasing amount of releases, it makes me worried for the format at large. I'm a little not excited for this new power scale tier list thing. Not excited for that. I hope it is not nearly as bad as it sounds in my head. I am hoping it is not that bad. I am hoping that the format does not become unplayable, and I am hoping that the game does not become more expensive and that people don't try to use this as an opportunity to scalp one another even more when it comes to gouging prices. I am hoping that they are able to maintain some kind of integrity for the game of Commander. It does not change the fact that I am really scared for the format right now with Wizards being in control. I just, as a consumer, as a player, I just want to be able to play this game without having to give up so much to be able to enjoy it. You know, like I have loved this game ever since I was a high schooler. Like I grew up playing this game. Like I got my first card when I was like 8 years old when a friend let me pick a card out of their collection. You know, but but again though, as it stands with the way that Wizards has been releasing the amount of product they've been releasing, charging for in-universe properties, I'm worried that this is not going to be that affordable of a game anymore. I hope that Wizards realizes that there is a huge burden of responsibility on them now for the survival of the format that they have basically put almost every egg in the basket of because of the amount of like stuff made for Commander that has been put out there. Honestly, I feel smothered by the amount of product, especially Commander product, and can't enjoy enough of it before we're already talking about the next set that's going to be releasing in the next month or so. Um, but the main thing I'm getting at, though, is I am worried for the format at large because it's my favorite format. I do love to draft. I love to play cube. I love to play sealed and pre-releases. But Commander is still my favorite format, and I am hoping Wizards does right by it. Otherwise, if they don't, and it just kills the Commander format, what was the point of it in the first place? So there is that. Um, I'm just hoping I don't wake up to find out more ridiculous information that all of the sudden they're going to be changing, making a huge overhaul of the rules, and that Commander will not be played the same as it was. Because like I feel like that would be a slap in the face of Sheldon Menery's legacy, the guy who created Commander, the guy that they made a secret layer as a love letter to Sheldon. Um, and I gotta say, I don't want this format to die. I don't want to see this format go. I have a play group that I meet with every Friday. That this is what brings us together is to hang out. So I don't know if there's any much more that I could say about this format or what's been going on. I just really, really hope, you know, I really do hope that this, I just, I have hopes. I have my doubts, but I have hope. I hope the game, I have a hope that the game is going to, you know, continue strong. That's my hope. That it's going to continue strong and that things do get better from here. That is all the time that we have for the episode today. I hope you're all going to be, I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye bye.